Well, James, I predicted this several years ago. You know, when they first announced that they're going to put a ban on the sale of ICE cars, internal combustion engine cars, at 2030 and 2035. I always knew that was a deadline we could never meet. It's an impossible deadline. And then as the years have rolled on, and look at us now, we're in 2023. 7 years to go before we get there. We are in no way capable of fulfilling the demand for electric vehicles that would have been on our roads if the government hadn't let the deadline slip. It's estimated that, you know, we install something like, 50 charging points every day in the United Kingdom. But to meet the deadline, we'd have to install 800 chargers every day, 7 days a week between now and 2030. It will be a civil engineering project, a size we've never seen. HS2 would look like a Meccano set in terms of trying to get the infrastructure in place to cope with what we've got to cope with. It's just never going to get there. And the can has been kicked down the road by Rishi Sunak and this latest announcement, as predicted, as I knew it was going to happen. And I gather every successive government that gets in after, whether it is going to be Labour that get in after or another Conservative government that get in after, the can inevitably will get kicked again down the road. Europe have just done the same. It's going to be the same here. The infrastructure isn't in place. Electrification of cars is great when it's going to work, but it's going to take a long time to get the infrastructure there to make it work. And when it does, it'll be fine. But we're not there yet, and we're a long way off.
Do you think electric cars are the future, Mike?
At the moment, no. Electric cars aren't the future. As an electric car owner and user myself, I struggle with it almost on a daily basis. It's parked out in the back of my house, and I don't even look at it these days. I don't even bother going near it. I can't get it charged. I put into a charging network. None of them work. If they do work, there's a queue of people lining up to get some charge in their cars. I simply don't have time to sit around for half an hour waiting for my car to charge, or half an hour waiting to get to charge my car. I simply don't have that amount of time in my busy schedule. So for me, I feel that electric cars is inevitably part of a solution in the future, but it's not the future at the moment. There are lots more interesting things coming through. Alternative fuels. Formula One will be running alternative fuels in a couple of years' time. We can grow fuels these days. It doesn't have to be fossil fuels. They can come from a different source. There's hydrogen energy that we're not kind of harnessing in the correct way we should be. If the world took the stance that they did on trying to tackle the COVID crisis, where we tackled it in 6 months as a planet together, and did that with and next an energy crisis, and they did it on a global scale, they cure it. It'll be cured within the next year, within the next 6 months. Hydrogen charging batteries that propel cars down the road. That's inevitably got to be where we're going to go in the long distance future. But I feel sorry not only for electric car owners, because everyone's adopted like I have, and I know many people that have adopted. And then the upshot of it is the price of their very, very expensive, over expensive, inflated electric car has now plummeted to a level that has put another cost of living crisis in the car market. And I feel really, really sorry for those people. And I feel sorry for the manufacturers that have been forced down this road to electrify their fleet, mandated by governments across the world to say, you have to have this amount of electric cars on your fleet by 2030, that now have been told, hold on a minute, we didn't really mean it. You can sell ICE cars a little bit longer. Where, as you know, James, and I know, lots of manufacturers have already started to change over their plants to just be electric only. And the cost that they've had to entail has cost billions to the manufacturers out there. And inevitably, those costs will again get passed on to the motorists and passed on to us. And then what's going to happen, James? Once the government realised that, yes, we can fulfill a market, we can saturate a market with electric cars and get people out there in their electric cars, and they realize that they can't tax us at the fuel pump anymore, and they can't tax us with CO2 emissions coming out of our exhaust pipe, where are they going to get the money from? They're going to look at us, the motorists, and say, well, now it's going to be pay per mile. So every mile you do in your electric car, you've got to pay for it. And that's going to be coming in the future as well, because the motorists are always the suckers in all these scenarios.
Do you think the ban on petrol and diesel sales will ever happen?
You know, that's a really good question, James, and that's a tough one to answer. I think no, I don't think it'll ever happen, and I'll tell you for why. It might happen here in the UK, and it might happen in France, or it might happen in Germany and North America, but it won't happen in Chile. It won't happen in Argentina. It won't happen in South Africa. It won't happen in Thailand. It won't happen in countries that cannot put an electric infrastructure in place. You know, to put an electric infrastructure in place globally, it's billions. And for these countries, these third world poor countries, they will never be able to do it. So I gather for as long as I'm here, petrol and diesel cars will still be manufactured.